Good evening, everyone, and I honestly hope this doesn't shut off, but I'm going to do my best. So maybe I can read fast, who knows. I am doing Mose Gibson. Mose Gibson was a burglar and a serial killer. He became a burglar first, and after that became a serial killer. And he is responsible for 7 murders, people in several states, although he was convicted of a double murder of killing rancher Ray, and his guilt has come into question. Allegations that his written confession was made up by the authorities. Scant details are available about Gibson. There's little about details, hardly any details about Gibson. They thought that he was born. They would think he was born in Louisiana Parish. He was first imprisoned in January 1904 and Baton Rouge prison for the unknown offense, according to him, the spiral into a life of crime when he was innocently uh, reapproved, I guess. I don't know how to write my own writing here. To southern penitentiaries who had become criminals through the association. Most was other names was Henry Watson and Monk Gibson. Justice William C.B. Bennett, former district attorney for the Bellevue Parish, indicated different stories. Prior to 1907, Gibson was using an alias of Monk and put on trial for ambushing and shooting at another black man as he was regarded as a good farmhand. Burnett defended Gibson, even employing him talent to represent himself in court. His client was found guilty and sent off to Louisiana State Penitentiary. After serving his time, Gibson had been left. The state traveling towards Florida. Following a Gibson enraged criminal activities for little over a decade, allegedly committed allegedly committed thousands of burglaries and robberies as well as several murders in 2 different cities. Burglarized and committed in one night in June 1913. He was one of the Omaha's Nebraska. Gibson was arrested after the first success, successful burglary. Alrighty, but managed to escape with a monarch still on the wrist. He burglarized another home so he could get money to to hand to uncuff the handcuffs that filed off. Several time in for penitentiaries in Louisiana, Ohio, Florida, and Texas, escaping from Wardland, Wardland 2 occasions from Florida's 1917 and Texas 1919. He never disclosed for what kind of offenses he was imprisoned for in Florida, but later on revealed that oil company manager Harris that Gibson had attempted to kill him during an argument I know that one. After a scuffle, he came back. Moses returned and came back and shot him in the head, grazed his head, and leaving in flesh wound. Murders, according to the initial Congress Gibson admitted to 10 murders, but later sources changed the number to 7. He admitted to following murders: J. R. Revitt, restaurateur, killed in Addis, Louisiana on December 24, 1908. Uh, Unknown person, a sugar mill watchman, killed in Grammarly, Louisiana in 1910. Unknown person, a storekeeper and wagon killed in Louisiana in 1910. Unknown person, a woman killed in Orange City, Florida in November 1919. Jacob Eckhart and his wife, elderly couple, killed in Phoenix, Arizona on June 6, 1920. Roy Trapp, a rancher, killed in Fullerton, California on June 15, 1920. J. R. Rivet, the earliest known murderer with a date that Gibson committed was of Joseph or James, is a don't worry about me, my eyes are screwed. Is George Rivet, a restaurant person who was killed on December 24th, 1908 in Addis, Louisiana. Rivet had employee uh, employee where am I? Originally 1980 employee, and then 25-year-old Gibson ordering him to get something. 25-year-old Gibson originally came got him something at the nighttime, according to this testimony of Joel Clark, who was sent to get some chickens to cook for breakfast. Clark had left after Gibson was sent out and didn't return until the following morning, when he found Ribden beaten to death and lying in a pool of his own blood. He was been killed by a blunt force trauma. Instead of Clark then called Point CW, my bank, with whom he lately found a truck owned by Rivet in a nearby field. The truck had been opened and riveted through, indicating that the robbery was the possibly motive for the murderers. A man named Hubble Brown Roberts was arrested on January 1st, 1909. Arson and accomplice and murdering. However, not enough evidence was gathering in order to prosecute him. On May 27th, a mob of about 20 men broke into a prison where Roberts was held and took him near a railroad and engine, allowed allegedly to force the confession out of him. After that negless, the accused man was never been seen again. Taking into account that Gibson confessed to murdering Orange City woman in November 1919. Authorities has speculated that he couldn't killed middle-aged widow Susan B. Clark, or Maddie Clark, who died on November 1st. The same night, another unidentified woman has also been robbed. Her murder was never never found. Her body was never found. But Gibson, who was well known there, was suspected. Newspapers to mention another woman by the name of Laura Marshall, but at present no further information is available in case. A well-respected couple in Phoenix, the Earharts, were slain in June 6, 1920. Gibson, who went by the alias Henry Watson, was just first arrested in Newgate for importing alcohol into the country. While en route to Phoenix after serving 24-day sentence, Douglas had he moved to the city, assuring either on June 3rd or June 4th, feeling the need to rob somebody. Gibson used a miner's hammer and then had found and entered their home through the kitchen window or kitchen back door. This awoke the Earhart, coupled with Jacob throwing himself at the armed intruder only to quickly get himself almost instantly killed. Mrs. Earhart fought for her life, but she was beaten and left for dead. Managing a slowly crawl back to the bed and died next to her husband. The gruesome scene was later discovered by a couple eldest son Jacob Jr., who immediately reported to the authorities. Investigating a crime scene would prove a challenge. The authorities only had theories with which to proceed. Allegedly, the black man arrived driving a stripe, were seen fleeing from a crime scene, but even with organizers' passes, the duo wasn't captured. Later inquests into the fingerprint evidence revealed that there was most likely only one killer, judging by where had washed his hands and removed his bloody clothing during the case. 150 supporters were examined and later released with a reward of passing of $3,000 being promised to anyone who had any clues. Hey, 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 I have a clue. He's dead. Now I can collect the 3,000, right? On June 25th, a possible suspect emerged after a Mexican national, Jesus Maria Barboa, who lived in Litchfield, Park was arrested in Nogales on June 25th. He was taken to a crime scene and under a bombardment of questions, he confessed to killing a couple. Barbaro was then brought to trial and declared guilty. Authorities weren't satisfied with his claims as he was seen to be in a semi-stupor while telling his story. This resulted in Barbaro being transferred to a mental institution. Hey, I've been there. Facility in Florence. And despite being initially charged with the Earhart killings, he was later acquitted due to his sanity. Let me turn on this light so I can at least look look at you people better, eh? I wish I had a headphone so I could go live. So if anybody wants to buy me one, feel free, and I'll give you my address as a good token. Robert Roy Trapp. In the long after of Earnhardt's murder, a criminal of striking similarities was committed on July 15, 1920, in Fulton, California. A wealthy rancher by the name of Roy Trapp. He had been kettled with a miner's hammer, and his wife beaten into unconsciousness and sub-screwed assault. Only 2 days later, the man supposedly responsible was arrested and identified as Mose Gibson. Uh, in his subsequently confession, Gibson had been intoxicated with wood alcohol. I looked up wood alcohol, and I don't know how anybody could drink it. Same thing as Lysol. I don't know how people would drink it. Same thing as mouthwash. I don't know how people could drink it. I'd rather drink vodka, whiskey, or beer, or any other stuff. But yeah, wood alcohol. Look it up. Claimed that he he entered the home with uh, intention to robbing it but in process in mis and he woke Mr. Trapp. The two men proceeded to scuffle, but Moses overpowered the necessarily beat the rancher to death in his bedroom before to also beaten Trapp, proceeding to Gibson uh, proceeding also beat Trapp's wife and then assaulted her. Gibson and came thanks to telegraph. Gibson came thanks to a telegraph operator named Fred Lewis, who was stationed in the town of Drake. Lewis had read an account of Trapp, a murderer in a Los Angeles newspaper, when a notice of black man matching a description of a suspect who was buying tickets to go to en route to Albuquerque, who was buying it. Although two have of them were alone in a office, Lewis stated Gibson for as much as he could before telegraphing. Officers before telegraph phones before phones telegraphing was first, I believe. So, and I actually wouldn't mind having that because it's antique. So, buying of officers from Needles to come arrest him. A group of 5 policemen chased the suspect, eventually getting into a fight with Gibson, but still managed to successfully arrest him in Topak, although initially refusing to speak with the authorities and praying all the time. Gibson eventually confessed to killing to Roy Trapper in front of Agent L.A. West because he was sentenced he was sentenced to hang sentenced to death to hang three in a 3 hour trial. He had a 3 hour trial for and then sentenced to death to hang to the double murderer of the Urquharts based on the similar circumstances of the two uh, cases. Shortly after he connected to the double murder of the Urquharts based Lord, he proceeded to and confessed to remembering of a murder, but only discarded when Earhart's case was detailed. After the authorities confirmed dates he provided, including where the rifled furniture was housed, how he victims were struck down the crime scene, location they declared Gibson, who mostly prayed on and read the Bible in prison, was guilty of the crime. Despite this, he was newer officially charged with the murder of. He was hanged just a week after killing Trapp in San Quentin, California. Even with some of the composing media, Gibson confession were the subject of double. Several reasons for this are that the fingerprints did not match those of Moses, were described as having a light light skies night skies tone. Despite of the authorities insist first they had caught the right man present with the trust who was compromised a few months before Gibson's execution. A Pablo and Toro based ongoing, although named the Hoser Wife Union #1 wrote to a governor that spared the country prison life through letter added that cause of death James P. Watson, and a bigamist who at the time had recently been convicted of murdering his several wives, but he is